It's the Sports Show. Mark Kiszla, Woody Paige. We will spend the next hour with you talking sports and debating and arguing and agreeing and getting you ready for the big game that's, 11 days away? Something like that.
Before you know it.
A countdown has already started. We have a clock somewhere that clocks down every second until the Super Bowl. 8th time the Broncos are going to the Super Bowl, and the 8th time that I will be following the Broncos. And you've said you've been to how many Broncos games? You missed the 77 one, I know.
Yes.
Have you been to the rest of them?
No, I have not. I went to the two they won, and I went to the one against Seattle. Those are the only Broncos Super Bowls I've been to.
Were you like off covering Nuggets at that time or something?
We'll have to talk about that after the show. One time when they lost to the Giants, I was in Ames, Iowa, covering the CU Buffs. I don't think a sports editor liked me at the time. It was somebody else other than you as a sports editor.
Let's start with the big stuff. What is the big stuff today?
Is Denver choke city? Let's talk exploitation, and can history repeat itself?
I don't know what any of those mean.
I don't either. Let's start with choke city. I wrote a column in the Denver Post in which my premise is that around the country, the Broncos are regarded as a team that goes to the Super Bowl and loses the Super Bowl. Therefore, Denver is choke city. The Panthers were opened at 4.5-point favorites, and immediately 70% of the people started betting on the Panthers, and it immediately went to 6 points. Before Denver, Colorado is ready for this Super Bowl, I'm saying they need an exorcism for the 43-8 Super Bowl. What say you, Woody Paige?
Did you use the words choke city? Because I saw them in the headline.
Yes, I did. I said around America, Denver is known as choke city.
That is the most ludicrous thing I ever heard. Right. And you're like Shaughnessy last week. You're trying to draw attention to yourself and to the Denver Broncos. I think that.
Well,
when you call, okay, when you have a slingshot, you have to pull it back. That's what I'm doing. I'm kind of pulling it back right now. Now I'm going to start to hurl it. No, and I'm kidding about attracting attention. That's what you write what you believe. When you call Buffalo choke city, they lost 4 consecutive Super Bowls.
Yeah.
The Broncos have won 2
and lost
they've lost 5. But I think that people remember the Broncos for this one's for John. For winning in 97, the way John, you'll hear references to it all week long. Peyton Manning wants to be like John Elway, win a Super Bowl, go out. I have never thought of Denver since they lost those 3 in the 80s that was choke city, and I didn't think they choked in any of those games. They weren't as good as those teams. They weren't as good as the Giants, even though they had the lead at halftime, 10-9. They got blown out. Phil Simms was the quarterback, had a great second half. They played Washington. They got a lead, 7-0. In the second,
they choked.
They didn't choke. They weren't any good. If they hadn't had John Elway, I mean, do you really think that Carolina would be there if they didn't have Cam Newton? I mean, no.
I don't. But they've lost 5 times by an average score of 41-12. I mean, would you be happier if I called it blowout city?
They weren't as good, Mark.
Lousy city?
They weren't as good as the San Francisco 49ers.
Don't hurt us city?
A guy wrote me today, and I told him that I thought he had a good point. I'm going to say this to you real quickly.
Mm-hmm.
ESPN has just picked the best teams of each franchise.
Yes, I saw that.
And the Broncos were 1998, and I agree with that. According to this guy's research, and he's a fan out there, not just a fan. He's not a Jag. He's not a Jaff. He's not just a fan. He did research. He said, if you look at that poll, the Cowboys of 1977 were the second best team of the Cowboys of all time, according to ESPN. That Montana-led team that beat Elway and the Broncos, 55-10, was considered the best 49ers teams of all those 4 that won. That the Washington team was the best of the Washington team. That Seattle was the best of the Seattle teams. That except for the Giants and the Packers, he was talking about that the Giants and the Packers were the only two exceptions that those weren't the first or second best teams of all time. They didn't play slugs. They played those franchises best. I don't know that that's choking. I don't think they choked. I don't think they choked out. My final point. Yeah. They didn't choke against Seattle. They just weren't as good as Seattle.
They were favored against Seattle.
Well, that was,
you want to call them tomato can City? You just set them up, and the other team knocks them down. And I don't.
There's a difference between being losers or being not as good and being choked. Choke would be Scott Norwood choking when you had a chance to win the Super Bowl. They didn't have a chance to win against the Giants. They didn't have a chance to win against Seattle. They just weren't as good. Seattle had a great defense and figured the Broncos out. I don't think the Broncos choked in that game. Oh, you're just going to stare at me? Okay, let's go with Choke City for the sake of your argument. So do the Broncos have an advantage? This is my question.
Yes.
Because Carolina has to come all the way across the country. Seattle had to go all the way across the country. That 4.5-hour trip worries everybody. The Broncos played the first game in this stadium. Did you realize that?
Yes, I did.
Exhibition game. Peyton had a good game in a short period of time. And third, what was my third point? Fans. The Broncos, I think, are going to be more in attendance than Carolina fans. It's closer, more West Coast people are Broncos fans than they are Carolina Panthers fans. Panthers don't have a great national following. Are those going to work to the Broncos' advantage this time?
I don't think the travel will have anything to do with it because there's 2 weeks between the games. I didn't take into consideration Seattle having to travel to Carolina. I think in that game the travel did make a difference. But because you're there the whole week, if you aren't over your jet lag after a week, I don't know when you'll be over your jet lag. Fans, interesting. You think your friend the governor will get Denver people there because they weren't there in New York compared to Seattle. And having played in the stadium, Peyton Manning likes to be familiar with his surroundings. So I do think that is a small advantage to Peyton that he's played there before.
I will give you one other. According to John, our producer, it's going to rain that day.
I've seen that.
Peyton Manning won his only Super Bowl playing in the rain in Miami.
It was a miserable day in Miami. I wasn't there. Were you there? I mean, I just remember it from TV. I watched it with a Bears fan. Maybe that's why I remember it as a miserable day. The Bears fan was miserable.
I actually think that works against the Broncos.
Rain?
I don't think Peyton Manning is the same guy that played in the then New Orange Bowl, Miami Dolphins Stadium. I don't think it works to the advantage favor defensively or offensively. Cooney Lexus of Greenwood Village is Colorado's #1 volume Lexus dealer. Conveniently located at I-25 in Bellevue. View current specials and a large selection of new and certified pre-owned vehicles at their website, Cooney Lexus of GreenwoodVillage.com.
Hello, my name is Greg Stone, President and General Manager, and I would like to personally thank you for making Cooney Lexus of Greenwood Village the #1 Lexus dealer in Colorado.
Cooney Lexus of Greenwood Village for exceptional customer service and world-class amenities. Take in the beauty of the Rocky Mountains from our rooftop patio. Relax while enjoying a movie in our premium theater. This is the ultimate luxury car buying experience. Visit Cooney Lexus of Greenwood Village or Cooney Lexus of Colorado Springs. Click CooneyLexus.com.
Sports Show, Woody Paige, Mark Kiszla. I show up to the show to learn stuff because I didn't know this. C.J. Anderson thanks Tom Brady on Instagram after the AFC Championship game.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that. Did you like it? What happened?
After the game, Tom Brady went up to C.J. Anderson and said, "You keep working hard. I'm really happy for you that you came out of nowhere. He wasn't drafted."
Right.
Tom Brady's kind of channeling his own self there, that he was drafted, in the 4th or 6th round?
6th round, I think.
And so
late. I mean, he was an unheralded quarterback coming into the NFL.
And he said, "I like the way you keep climbing, that you keep working hard, that you have emerged as a real good running back. Keep it up."
Yeah.
And so C.J. Anderson took to Instagram and saying that meant more to him than anything, that Tom Brady would actually take out time.
I would think so.
And C.J. Anderson, having done stories on him, and you have too, his background where his mother would take him in the San Francisco area. He's really going back home. Would take him to the bus every morning the first bus so he could go to community college, and that he was an undrafted free agent, and he was told, you're not going to play in this league and all that kind of stuff. You're looking at me funny.
No, I was looking at the next question funny, and I was looking at the prompter.
So are the Broncos, though, they're still talking about, the Patriots, we understand, are still whining and crying.
They got to
But the Broncos, is that good that they're still kind of, the line that's always said by teams is, we're going to enjoy this tonight.
Right.
And then tomorrow we're going to move on to the next game.
Right.
Are the Broncos spending too much time still talking about and reveling in their victory over the Patriots?
That's why I had the funny look on my face. I often have a funny look on my face because I'm funny looking. But I think the Broncos did a really good job of not celebrating too much. I've heard DeMarcus Ware say, hey man, I didn't get all this way for the first time in my lengthy career to be satisfied with winning the AFC Championship game. Peyton Manning is grateful that he has a chance to play in another Super Bowl, but it means the world to his legacy to win the Super Bowl. I think maybe 2 years ago, young guys on the Broncos team were a little bit too happy about getting to the Super Bowl. But I think they learned their lesson from that. Did they go out and have a good time? I'm sure they did. Don't know specifics of that, but I think they'll be down to business when they start practice later this week.
Ron Rivera's sort of channeling Mike Ditka from 1985, saying he wants his players to enjoy it, have fun. It seems to me like the Broncos are more businesslike about approaching this Super Bowl than they were 2 years ago. You made a point, you were talking about there are only 6 players that's starting from that team. I have to tell you, and I mean this, and you're a friend, that's a little misleading because they had so many guys that were hurt in that game.
And I put them in there. I said, but that's important to me. Von Miller didn't play. Chris Harris didn't play. Derek Wolfe didn't play. And so they had to watch their teammates be miserable, and that's a motivating factor. But I also think it is important that they didn't play because they're not scarred by that. They sat there and said, you know what? That wasn't on me. And if I'm there against Carolina, it's going to make a big difference. So I actually think it is important that they did not play.
The national perception, though, is these Broncos are the same ones that went to the Super Bowl. You're
Choke City, that's what I'm saying. That's what the the national perception.
Except if you look across the offensive line, none of those guys were on that offensive line.
Vasquez was there.
Yeah, okay.
One.
That's one. Who was of the wide receivers?
Demaris and Peyton. Those are the 3 offensive players.
The tight ends, Virgil Green was not here.
3 offensive starters.
C.J. Anderson didn't play.
C.J. Anderson
Ronnie Hillman was in the team, wasn't he?
C.J. Anderson, I think, got a couple carries, if I remember correctly.
Wasn't Ronnie Hillman? Was he hurt? He was with the team then.
Ronnie Hillman was banged up. It was Noshan's. He was the lead back.
And so defensively, you talked about Von Miller. Derek Wolfe was hurt. Sly Williams wasn't here.
Sly Williams started that game.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. And linebackers, Von Miller didn't play. DeMarcus wasn't here. Brandon Marshall was
he was banged up, I believe.
I thought he was on the practice squad then.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
Danny Trevathan was.
Trevathan did start in that game,
and he was hurt that year, though, wasn't he? Yeah. So, and Raheem Moore's gone. Whoever the other safety is, that was with the Indianapolis Colts.
Mike Adams.
Mike Adams is gone somewhere. Aqib Talib was not here yet.
No, it was the 2 corners were Champ and. Rogers Cromartie.
So I guess the point I'm making, and I was kind of fumbling around with it, is these aren't those Choke City Broncos. There's so few of them. That's why I had problems with it. If you're calling the Broncos Choke City,
you know what you should do though is you should read my column because I said John Elway bulldozed that team, and that was very important because institutional memory is often important, but not in this case because that scar was too deep.
Check out Rocky Mountain Men's Clay because sexual issues can be symptoms of much more important serious conditions, although I'm sure you would consider sexual issues major in your life too. But diabetes can result, strokes, heart attack, high blood pressure, prostate issues. You should, and particularly with prostate, men have, let's be serious about it, most men get prostate cancer at some point in their lives. And so you have to have the diagnostic ultrasound, testosterone, PSA testing. You know what that is, man. All to get you back in business and also to find out if you have any other health problems. The sooner, as we all know, the sooner you figure out what your health problems are, the sooner you can address them. RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com, 720-440-7900.
Is a lack of intimacy at home starting to affect your performance on the course? There are many factors like high blood pressure, diabetes, and high cholesterol that may be contributing to your erectile dysfunction. Get back in the game with one visit to Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, offering same-day solutions for all erectile dysfunction and premature issues. And you get to try the medications containing FDA ingredients right in their office. Let the providers at Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic help you get your confidence back. And be sure to ask about the $99 limited time special. Call today.
Sports Show, Woody Paige, Mark Kiszla. Coach Ron Rivera, he's with the Panthers, stated that even though the Broncos have a good defense, he sees opportunities to exploit. What could those opportunities be?
I think mid-level passing.
Yeah.
I think the Broncos do give up areas, and I was surprised that the New England Patriots didn't try to exploit that. They were trying to work to Edelman, but Edelman's not a middle-level, intermediate pass.
He's a short.
He's short passes, and Gronk, they were trying to work into different places, and they never really exploited. So the Panthers, I think, with their tight end, who also is one of the best. Everybody talked about about Gronk.
Yeah.
The Panthers have one of the best tight ends.
And Olsen, he's a heck of a tight end.
Yeah, that maybe with
he's
tight
very
ends,
similar in my mind. Is he Gronk? No, but he's Gronk light at the very worst.
The Broncos were not number one against they were number one against the run. They're number one in sacks, number one overall. I think they were number 3 against the pass, number 4 in the regular season. I think if you opportunities to exploit, and I'm just thinking out loud here, if Stewart and TJ Ward are not at full strength, you can exploit them, particularly Stewart if he has a strained knee. I think that
I went back and looked at that 2-point play that the Pats failed on. Do you know who was on Gronk?
Sure.
Man
Shiloh.
to man, man to man, single coverage.
That's why.
And Tom Brady didn't exploit that. You know what? And we saw late in the game that they split the wide receiver out, and a Broncos linebacker would have to go out there, and then they'd run deep. What I've thought all season long, keep your back in the backfield and run that
wheel
kind
right.
of a wheel route out of you can exploit the Broncos there.
I ran into Aqib Talib, which was really odd given that he was a guy I went to immediately when I went in the locker room because everybody was gathered around Harris, and I wanted to go to Talib. He tipped that pass on that play, so I wanted to concentrate on that. So we had an opportunity to talk Monday night because he's one of those guys that calls me Mr. Paige all the time. And he had said to me after the game, give us some love on TV tomorrow. And so I did, both on this show and Around the Horn. And I said, let's talk about that play again. I said, how did Shiloh end up on Gronkowski? And he said, well, my responsibility is Edelman on the play. Chris Harris was blowing. What I mean by that is he blew up White on the play.
Yes, he went straight at him, made a beeline.
Okay, so they had man-to-man coverage, and that was including on Gronk. And they had a safety on Gronk because Brandon Marshall released him. And he's open in the middle of the field. Well, the idea from Josh McDaniels, the brilliant Josh McDaniels, was because of the pass rush to get Tom Brady outside. Well, he rolled right. Well, White's blown up, and so his second choice should have been Gronk, according to what Matt Hasselbeck has talked about, that you go back and then tight end and then crossing route pattern. And he said Brady totally screwed up that play because he went from White, who was blown up by Harris, over to Edelman, who was across the field, and then never got to Gronk in his reading.
Tom Brady and not look for Gronk. It doesn't make any sense.
It makes no sense whatsoever that even if he's being double teamed, you've completed 2 passes when he's being double teamed,
right.
And he's got single coverage. And what Talib told me is he kind of gave Edelman a little bit of space because he knew that Brady would be throwing across his body and across the field. And he said, I can give him the impression that he's open on the play, which was similar almost to the fourth down play that didn't work, that was blown up. And so he said, I gave him a little bit of space, and Roby is to help me out if he goes past me. And that's why, so Roby is actually kind of floating. And he said, when he released it, he thought Edelman was open, and he said, I was covering well. I was following his eyes and everything. But he made the mistake. We're going back and talking about it, but if you go to Gronk, you complete the play. You send it into overtime. And Talib even admitted that he had not seen the play. And I said, he's wide open. He said, I don't know what he was thinking then, that it should have been from here to here to here, that he went from here to here and never got back to here and looking with his eyes at his receivers. Order Papa John's Broncos 18 special today in honor of Peyton Manning playing his last game, his last rodeo. I want to bring that up. I'm going to stop that for a second. In the tradition of Orange Crush, Blake Street Bombers, we have to applaud. I already applauded you, gave you accolades for picking the Pittsburgh Steelers, but you're the one who said to Peyton Manning, if I remember correctly, you said, do you
I gave Peyton the idea of last rodeo.
You
yes,
said,
and,
could this be your...
and he apparently likes the idea.
So he's going with it because he told Belichick afterward. And so you have created a national phrase for this game, last rodeo. A Western kind of thing, riding off into the sunset, last rodeo.
Send the checks to my house.
So in the tradition of Orange Crush, now we've got last rodeo. Broncos 18 special today. 2 large 3-topping pizzas. You can build it yourself online using the promo code Broncos 18. How much is it? $18 at the new papajohns.com.
For our Players' Choice pizzas, we made the NFL players' favorite pizzas. Now you can eat like an NFL player.
If I can eat like a football player, I can talk like one, I can work out like one, I can even dress like one.
Look, you can eat the pizza. You just can't steal my shorts.
Up your game with any large specialty pizza, including Players' Choice pizzas. Only $12 each.
Better ingredients, better pizza.
Better football.
At the new papajohns.com.
Well, what happens, and we're talking about the last rodeo, it's not really a debate or anything, that what happened was you said it to Peyton. Could this be your last rodeo? And he said, well, I'd be lying to you, or I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah, no, he said I'd be lying if I wasn't thinking about that.
And so that kind of grew nationally, that people were quoting you, they weren't giving you credit. They'd say that he told the Denver Post or something like that, or he said, as they do. And then I know Archie well enough, you know that he reads the Post every day.
Yeah.
For people who don't, Archie keeps up with whatever's said about Peyton in Denver.
Sure.
So he knew you had written that column, and the family was thinking about it. So Peyton sort of grabbed last rodeo. Archie knew about it in New Orleans, and so he told you, oh, well, this could be the last rodeo, because he knew you had said it, because that family's really smart.
They are very media savvy, that's for sure.
And so got that, and that Peyton was using it when he said to Belichick, well, this could be my last rodeo. And I think, as I said, it's going to be used all throughout Super Bowl week. And I think you should get up on a podium in Super City and tell everybody, I'm the guy that came up with that.
I came up with last rodeo. Aren't I smart?
Broncos, this is a Bronco. According to Pro Football Focus, you don't like them as much as I do. I've come to like them. But Pro Football Focus says this is the worst offense in the Super Bowl since 2007.
Ooh.
I don't even know who was in the Super Bowl in 2007. What can they do? The offensive line has played better in the 2 playoff games.
Schofield's played better.
Yeah. Demaryius Thomas hasn't. But what if you are Gary Kubiak, who is the, quote, mastermind, junior, Jen Ann was mastermind, what should he do to kind of try and squeeze more out of this offense between now and the Super Bowl?
Keep rolling with that tight end idea, because we know Peyton throughout his career has loved throwing to the tight end. And he got Olin Daniels in space early against the Patriots, and then they went away from it in the second half. They even tried to go to your man, Vernon Davis, early.
Wait. I didn't say that. I said,
what?
But my man?
I was kidding you, man. I know you're not a huge Vernon fan. And Demaryius Thomas you're going to have to find a way to get him comfortable, get him free with something other than the bubble screen. Get him in some usable space for an easy catch and then yards after the catch.
I have an idea for you.
Okay.
And one of the reasons why I brought this up, let's go back to the beginning of the season. We talked about the slot receiver.
Right.
And nobody wanted Emmanuel to do it because they were afraid he was going to get hurt.
Good
They're
idea.
playing in the last game, aren't they?
Yeah.
We don't really care anymore after this game.
Yeah.
Why not?
Good
and
idea.
we
I
know
like
that
it.
Demaryius Thomas was there last year and kind of went into a sulk. He went, I don't like this. Why don't you move them into that position? Why don't you practice where they both have played the position? Why don't you kind of move them inside occasionally? Because you're going to get a matchup there. This is the Edelman concept.
Right.
You're going to get a linebacker matchup. If Demaryius is not holding on to balls that are thrown to him down the field, why don't you get him started by putting him in the slot and confusing Carolina and running him across the field?
I like the idea, and I'm running with it. You're not, if I'm hearing you correctly, you're not saying, okay, Demaryius, you don't play wideout anymore, or Emmanuel, you don't play wideout anymore. But on certain plays, we'll put you in the slot for a different look and a different opportunity for you to get the ball, and that seems to make sense to me. That's not junk in your offense. That's a little tweak that could make a play or two, that could make the difference.
Sure, or at least do it 5 to 10 times and show it. I was looking around while you were talking for a pen because I go back to, and I'd love to write a column.
You're going to drop a play on this piece of paper for me?
I was going to. Manning's most success was at Indianapolis when he had a slot receiver go down 6 yards.
Yeah.
That would be
take a left of the fire hydrant.
He'd go down 6 yards and come over the middle.
Yes.
The tight end would go down 10 yards and come over the middle.
Yeah.
Then he would run a wide out down the field. So he was able to see you, the wide out, tight end. So as brilliant as we all think he was, it was very simple. I talked to Stokely about this. I'll reveal it now. That Stokely, I said to Stokely, wasn't that the brilliance of Peyton Manning that Tom Moore had come up with that it was so easy to read 3 different receivers who were at different spacing down the field. Why don't you have Demaryius over here on the right side where he lines up, have Emmanuel, and have Owen Daniels. And so then you have Demaryius and Emmanuel switch places, and you've got the slot receiver. Cooney Lexus of Greenwood Village is Colorado's number. See, you never thought I could coach.
He's a genius.
No. Cooney Lexus, #1 volume Lexus dealer. I'm going to take it's at I-25 in Bellevue. When I came back from New York in 2006-07, I did a lot of work on the best car I wanted, and I came up with Lexus, and I had like 3 or 4 choices. And I came up with Lexus, and I drove it. I loved it. I bought one. I continued to buy them every 2 or 3 years. And I have had 5 in the last 7 or 8, 9 years. And there's a reason why. You don't have to trust me, but I haven't had a moment's problem. It's a great car. I love everything from the GPS to the tires. My tires have a hydrant or something in them that they don't even have air in them. I mean, there's just so many little things about it. And the #1 Lexus dealership in Colorado is Cooney Lexus.
Hello, my name is Greg Stone, President and General Manager, and I would like to personally thank you for making Cooney Lexus of Greenwood Village the #1 Lexus dealer in Colorado.
Cooney Lexus of Greenwood Village for exceptional customer service and world-class amenities. Take in the beauty of the Rocky Mountains from our rooftop patio. Relax while enjoying a movie in our premium theater. This is the ultimate luxury car buying experience. Visit Cooney Lexus of Greenwood Village or Cooney Lexus of Colorado Springs. Click CooneyLexus.com.
See, I'm still
Sports
talking
show.
to you.
Coach Woody Paige and student Mark Kiszla. Von Miller had 82 pressures so far this season.
Who did he tie?
Who did he tie? I don't know.
Mack.
Really?
He and Khalil Mack had the same identical
Amount of quarterback pressures.
and that includes hurries, hits, and sacks.
Okay. Now, According to my spies, Carolina's weakest link on the offensive line is their right tackle, Mike Remmers. How significant a role will this matchup play in the Super Bowl?
I think this is something that we need to talk about in the next week, and I'm going to bring it up over and over again. Remmers was rated 51st among right tackles.
Among right tackles? There's only 32 teams. And not just tackles in general, right tackles?
Right tackles.
He's a lousy right tackle.
Well, that means like the Broncos played 2 or 3 right tackles.
Yeah. Everybody plays more than one right tackle. I get that.
So he ranked 51st.
That's not good.
You've got a guy that
so your buddy's at Pro Football Focus or someplace else?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and Football Outsiders.
Okay, gotcha.
One of the two.
Okay.
So you got Von Miller lining up on that side against the right tackle. So they're either going to have a tight end that's always at least nosing. But I think if he goes against a right tackle that's worse than Schofield, that's a mismatch. And John Fox, for whatever we thought, always told me over and over again, football is all about matches and mismatches.
Mm-hmm.
Did you look for the mismatch? Well, guess what? This is a mismatch made in heaven for the Broncos, better than what they had against the Patriots.
Well, if Von Miller has a game like he did against the Patriots, the Broncos are winning this game.
But that's if you're looking for, you search for ways that teams are going to win games. And if that is such a bad mismatch that Remmers, if he is, let's whatever the stats might be, and Pro Football Focus, Football Outsiders, that he's a mediocre right tackle. He's the weakest of their offensive linemen. That's the one that you've got to really try and take advantage of. We'll take a news break with Molly Hughes and continue with this very stimulating conversation with Choke City and Mark Kiszla.
Hello, I'm Molly Hughes in the Denver Post newsroom. The search is on for a suspect who got away after a robbery and shooting of an off-duty sheriff's deputy. The unidentified Jefferson County deputy was in plain clothes, apparently visiting his girlfriend in Aurora, when he was approached by 2 people with guns drawn. The deputy was shot multiple times during the robbery, suffering injuries to his chest and abdomen. He's been upgraded from critical to stable condition. The 2 males took off running. Search teams were deployed. One 16-year-old suspect who had been shot in the leg was captured, but the second suspect escaped. Aurora SWAT officers, helicopters, K-9 units, sheriff's deputies, and police officers from several jurisdictions canvassed the area around Buckley Road and East Iliff Avenue. After several hours, though, the search was called off. Investigators are now asking for help in finding that second suspect. If you have any information, you're being asked to call Crime Stoppers at 720-913-STOP. A $2,000 reward is being offered, and you can remain anonymous.
When you go to buy a car, what do you really want? You probably want a lot of cars to choose from. And you want the dealership's best price. Not some starting price or target price, the best price. And you want it immediately, not after hours of negotiating. And you want a salesperson who doesn't get paid more if you spend more. Because, well, you don't want to spend more. Well, you're in luck. John Elway wants all of those things too. Better yet, John Elway wants you to have all of those things too. Come see us or click on johnelwaychevrolet.com.
We have a lot of 4 on the floor, pick 6, the mailbag, but right there at the top of the list is what this segment's all about. And here's the segment, and here's the person who does it.
Hey everybody, my name is Hugh Johnson. I'm a digital sports producer with the Denver Post, and this is What's Trending Now.
You don't be coming in. We're talking about the Broncos. Don't be coming in here with any of that cheap stuff. Don't bring that cheap
stuff. I got no Bronco stuff on there.
I gotta make it.
Don't let this man intimidate you.
I gotta get the variety, Woody.
Trend what you want to trend, man.
We gotta talk about the Nuggets here. The rookie Emmanuel Mudiay and Nikola Jokic.
Are the Rockies and Avs on that list too?
No, the Rockies aren't on here. I've cheated. But Mudiay and Jokic.
And Jokic were both named to the BBVA Compass Rising Stars Challenge on Wednesday. They will be a part of NBA All-Star Weekend.
Did you get a kickback from BBVAA Compass?
No, it was just in there.
And then we got
they're in the rookie game. I don't care who sponsors it.
Then we got the Adidas / 3-point.
That's right.
So
Hugh
anyway,
Johnson's attire is provided by.
So anyway, the way they set it up is it's Team USA versus Team World. Both Nuggets players are on the World team. Are you guys excited about this? Could this lead to more Nuggets on the actual All-Star team in the main event?
Okay, no, the Nuggets aren't going to make the All-Star team in the main event. I know they're pushing Gallo. I would be shocked if he makes it. But here's what's encouraging. Within the next 2 to 3 years, you'll see Jokic or Moutier in the All-Star game in the main event.
Right.
This is their first step here.
Well, the NBA, first of all, wants to get more involvement from other teams that aren't in the All-Star game, so that's the reason why. And you look around, and Moutier was picked 6th or 7th overall.
Yeah.
7th.
Right.
And both those players are outstanding young players. This is good for the Nuggets. It's good for them to actually be on this kind of stage at the All-Star weekend. And wouldn't that motivate you and go, man, look at the players in the All-Star game. We're here.
No, it would be cool. No, Moutier will eat it up. He'll guarantee.
Yeah. So.
All right, guys, and former Texas Tech graduate transfer quarterback Davis Webb is coming to the Colorado Buffaloes. He announced today on Twitter. In 23 games, Webb threw for 5,557 yards.
5,000 yards?
Yeah, in 23 games. 46 touchdowns and 22 interceptions. He's the first player in Texas Tech history to record at least one touchdown pass in each of his first 18 games. Your reaction, guys, your thoughts on this. Is this
I'm going to hold off my positive feelings because about a week and a half ago, I got excited.
Because a kid from Tennessee was coming. And then he was here for 2 weeks and he left. What's wrong with you people from Tennessee, Woody? You stayed.
Well, I can't tell you the whole story, but I'll tell you this.
Can't tell me the whole story. What's wrong with you?
Could he have had, how do I put this? Could he have had academic issues?
Oh, okay.
Could he have had maybe issues that he missed somebody in his life?
That could be
so I'm going to
sick.
hold off and make sure, but I think that anybody can get into Tennessee. Not everybody can get into CU.
Okay.
Not everybody can get into Texas Tech. I don't know if they can get into CU. So I'm going to hold off until. But, I mean, if you were a quarterback at another school and you were looking for a great opportunity, this would be a spot.
Here's the interest to me. So we talked about the quarterback prospect from Tennessee. Now we're having a
Davis Webb
from Texas Tech.
Right.
Sounds like to me they're going to have a little quarterback controversy come summer camp,
right,
because Cepho's going to be a senior, but it sounds like they're looking for a different quarterback.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know that.
Yeah.
That's it for me, guys.
Oh. Nothing about the Rockies?
Nothing about the Rockies.
I thought you'd bring up...
Who's your clothing provided by?
Me.
Well, you need a sponsor.
I'm going to have to find somebody.
Our live guests with their product placement are brought to you by Papa John's. The day after every Avalanche win, get 50% off the regular menu price. They didn't win last night. So not today, but they're on a roll. They've won 4 out of 5 now. They have a little bit of a goalie issue in terms of health and issues. Use the promo code ABS. So when they win, the next day, think about it, 50% off the pizza at the new papajohns.com.
When the Avs win, you win at Papa John's. All season long, the day after every Avs win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at papajohns.com by entering promo code AVS. That's right. Just enter promo code AVS online at papajohns.com the day after every Avs win for 50% off your entire online order.
Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Four on the floor. The first question, I looked at the Carolina receivers, and I wasn't very impressed. Their best receiver is a guy that's got bad hands, Ted Ginn Jr.
He can run fast, though.
He can, but he drops. He's, Demaryius
I don't think he's dropped quite as many this year, but he does have a reputation of dropping
and
the
you
football.
look around and you go, who are they? Well, they're a bunch of unnamed guys that have done extremely well this year because Cam Newton has found them. The Broncos receivers we talked about a little bit. Who has the edge?
In terms of the receiving core, I think the Broncos have an edge. And we've mentioned this. Demaryius Thomas is one of the 5 most talented receivers in the NFL. Has he had one of the 5 best seasons? No. But could he be a difference maker in this game? Yes.
Would you trade him for Calvin Johnson?
No, because Calvin Johnson he's got tread on his tires.
Sure. And he's threatening to retire, but there's a feeling out of Detroit that he is threatening to retire because he wants to go to a winning team before his career's over.
I see. Tim Howard to the Rapids. That talk is heating up. Howard seems to be interested. Is it a good idea for the Rapids?
Well, he would make between $2 and $3 million.
Yeah.
He's got a contract.
Is he worth $2 million? There's the question.
He's worth $2 million in publicity.
Yeah.
And in experience. Everton has him under contract to 2018 for that kind of money. And when I've talked to him over there, he loves Everton. But he's interested.
He's probably interested in Colorado because of you, Woody Paige.
No, but he's interested in coming back. He started his career in the MLS back before it was really anything, to be truthful. He was with that New York team. I don't know what it was called. Red Bulls, whatever it was before that. I think
Metro Stars.
And so it wouldn't be for a full season, but he's wearing down a little with Everton. He's not, the fans, don't tell anybody here, fans there want him out of it.
Yeah, well, don't tell anybody in Colorado. Is Cam Newton the new John Elway?
He's as close to John Elway as anybody I've seen come into the league. Because he's got the size. He's an athlete. He's bigger than John Elway. He's built like a linebacker. But he's got John Elway's ability to scramble and run. He's got an arm that's as strong as John Elway. He's got a personality that's as strong as John Elway. And even John Elway said, Cam Newton rubs people the wrong way. John Elway rubbed a lot of people in various places, including in Denver, the wrong way. Yeah, I think he's going to have a career like John Elway.
Okay, then I hope you're right for the sake of Broncos fans, because John Elway went to, 3 Super Bowls before he won one? This is Cam's first one. That means he'll lose.
Baseball is considering changing the strike zone. So they've given up. The commissioner said, we're not doing the DH. We're not going to make the National League do the DH.
Thank goodness.
But they're thinking about raising the strike zone up to the kneecap. Right now it's below the knee. I never can quite figure out where it's supposed to be.
I thought it was the belt buckle. I thought are they widening it or contracting the strike
You're right.
zone?
They're probably widening it.
Yeah.
But in the old days it was below the knee. And you're right. It's kind of from...
It's kind of between here and
belly
here.
Button.
Your belly button in the team's name, the logo.
Your reaction to that kind of talk?
I like baseball games that move, and I don't need the game to be 6-5. If the strike zone is wider and it gets me through the order quicker because more strikes are thrown and more hacks are taken, I'm for it.
Here's what I'm for. A stabilized strike zone.
Okay.
Because every umpire that comes into Denver, every game you ever watch on TV, here's the strike zone that's Fox or Altitude or Root or whoever does the games. And you look at it, and everybody interprets it. Every umpire, out here, and they go strike, and you'll hear somebody on the Rockies go, that wasn't a strike. And then the same pitch is thrown by the Rockies pitcher, oh yeah, he painted the corner. I just want it to be the same for everybody. 4 on the Floor is sponsored by Citywide. I mean, the umpires should go to school and say, hey guys, this is it, or we're going to turn it over to robots. Citywide is sponsor of 4 on the Floor. It's a family-owned, Colorado-focused business bank. We love doing business with them because I really like the fact they're Colorado-based. This is not that New York salsa. This is a Colorado-focused. When they help 150 charities, the money's not leaving the state. It's staying right here. We do our banking with Citywide. They're good people. We've met with them. They've supplied us with their piggy bank that we put money into. I'm going to break it up one day and donate it to charity. I think Les put about $1 in there under duress one day. Citywide Banks.
I am Citywide Banks.
I am Citywide Banks.
At Citywide Banks,
we put you first by exceeding your service expectations every day.
Every day.
When you go to buy a car, what do you really want? You probably want a lot of cars to choose from. And you want the dealership's best price. Not some starting price or target price, the best price. And you want it immediately, not after hours of negotiating. And you want a salesperson who doesn't get paid more if you spend more, because, well, you don't want to spend more. Well, you're in luck. John Elway wants all of those things too. Better yet, John Elway wants you to have all of those things too. Come see us or click on johnelwaychevrolet.com.
Speaking of favorite segments, this is it. Once we change the name from Woody's Mailbag
sure. When
to
Hugh's
Madison.
here, it's a favorite segment. Now that Madison's here, it's your favorite segment. I know how you operate. This is his favorite segment, Madison.
Madison's Mailbag. And we put out a tweet, and how's it running so far?
So we put out a tweet, and the question was, who's going to win the big dance? And 55% of our followers said that the Broncos are going to win. 45% said the Panthers.
That's 792 votes.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yep.
I would guess our following is all over the country, to be frank, but I would guess it's Colorado-oriented to some extent. And I would have thought it would have been higher. So I think the people are being honest in their opinions. It's
I would have thought if you asked this question, and even though the sports show has followers from here to Bangladesh, New York, that because we're asking it in Denver, Colorado, I would have thought it would have been 75% Broncos.
Yeah,
So
I think we could actually pay attention that it's, even though it's Broncos 55-45, it's running. In other surveys, I took one today on one of the websites, and it was like 78 to 30, whatever, to Panthers.
Okay.
So, I mean, nationally, there's people thinking. So you'll keep us up to date on that every day.
Yep, absolutely.
What else we got?
So our first question is from Duke Frucom, and he wants to know, will this blowout be worse than Super Bowl 48?
Wow!
He's obviously on the Panthers side.
Duke? In favor of the Broncos? No. I mean, see? There's that opinion around the country, and maybe in our backyard, the Broncos get to the big game and they fall flat on their face.
What was the score in the last Super Bowl?
43-8.
51 points. And I was thinking the total points in this game is going to be 50. Madden they've done simulations on Madden, and it's come out 20-16, 17-7. So my answer would be no. It's going to be more of a defensive game than that one was.
I agree with you. I think Denver's defense is good enough that unless Denver turns the ball over repeatedly, this should be a game in the fourth quarter.
And I don't see Manning doing that. So I think it's going to be a close game. It's going to be like the last two games the Broncos have played. I don't think it's going to be more like a Carolina blowout against Arizona. I think it's going to be close, and I'm still undecided. What's next?
Our next question is from RD_Mullen, and he wants to know, what do you think of Clete Blakeman as Super Bowl 50's referee?
I guess he's been named. That's news to me, so you have brought us something I didn't know. I like him. I think he's an under control referee. Hockley, I thought, did a great job in the. You're laughing, but
No, I'm laughing. I'm laughing at Patriots fans because Hockley was named to the game, so the Patriots are going to lose. The referee of the game doesn't determine who's going to win the game.
Sure, but I would say this, that I'd like to know who the other officials are.
Okay.
I think they take an all-star lineup. They don't take the full team. So I'm fine with him, and I tend to be like Mark. I don't really care who the referee is. Most of them sound like Delta Airline pilots or SEC guys that I went to school with in the SEC. They all have Southern accents. You ever notice that? Astronauts, Delta pilots, or Delta's like in Atlanta, and referees all sound like they have a Southern accent.
All right, and then the last tweet that we selected for today was from 86 Elway fan, and he wants to know, with Wolf under contract at the price the defensive backs paid, can they afford to keep him, Malik, and Vaughn next year? If not, who goes?
Yes, they should. I would say that. Can they? Yes, I think they can. I think they're going to have to look in spots. Peyton Manning, they're not going to have that number. I think that you look at Evan Mathis, probably won't be back.
I'm not sure Vasquez will be back either.
That's a big number. Ryan Clady might not be back. There's a lot of numbers offensively that can be kind of squeezed back. And there's probably a couple of defense players.
I thought for sure Malik would be back, but I do admit I wondered when they gave the money to Wolf? Was that any indication that Wolf is a much higher priority than Malik?
Brandon Marshall, Malik Jackson, Derek Wolf, Von Miller. Keep that core together. We should mention that we keep talking about DeMarcus Ware. That's a number where you can get some money. Thank you. For people that can't see behind here, and I'm not going to, I love the fact that she wears those Converse All-Stars sneakers.
Thanks. I can't get my foot up that far.
Yeah, well, you need a bigger platform.
Yeah.
Madison with the mailbag. And this segment sponsored by John Elway Chevrolet on South Broadway, Colorado's #1 Chevrolet dealership.
When you go to buy a car, what do you really want? You probably want a lot of cars to choose from. And you want the dealership's best price. Not some starting price or target price, the best price. And you want it immediately, not after hours of negotiating. And you want a salesperson who doesn't get paid more if you spend more. Because, well, you don't want to spend more. Well, you're in luck. John Elway wants all of those things too. Better yet, John Elway wants you to have all of those things too. Come see us or click on johnelwaychevrolet.com.
There's going to be a lot of questions asked at the Super Bowl because that's what we do. We ask questions until they kick off the game. How much of an issue will be HGH in the Manning family?
Here's what's going to happen. I genuinely believe that on media day or whatever, somebody from Bleacher Report or somebody's going to hurl that question at John Elway.
At Peyton Manning?
At Peyton Manning, I'm
Gotcha.
sorry. And he's going to say, I'm going to address this once and then I'm not going to talk about it again. You know he's already been rehearsed by Patrick Smythe. He's already thought about how he's going to say it. And he said, I'm going to say what I did at the beginning. I'm going to say it's a foolish report. And they're going to say, well, the NFL says it's investigating. He said, I've said since the beginning, bring it on. I wish they had talked to me that night. I didn't do anything. I've never cheated. I'm not going to talk about my wife's situation. And it's a farce. And he's going to leave with a little funny thing. You notice that report from that TV station is going out of business. That TV network's going. He's going to throw a little funny thing to switch it in a different direction. And so people are going to say, Manning goes, well, look at that TV network. They're going out of business at the end of April.
When the report came out, and I get why Peyton was upset, he was genuinely upset. So do you think even for a day that's a distraction to Peyton Manning?
I think it was then.
But you don't think it will be next week?
He and his wife talked about it. I don't think it's going to be a distraction that if I were in charge of him or if I were him, I would say, okay, I'm going to address it now, but don't bring it up the rest of the week. If you bring it up, I'm not going to talk about it. Because he's done that before. He can be snarky in his own way. I was in Dallas when a guy brought up something. He said, I've talked to you before. I told you I wasn't going to answer that question before. After they beat the Cowboys in that late comeback. So he knows enough about people in the media to know who's even asking him questions before. You said earlier he's media savvy, so I think he'll address it once, or he'll say media day, this is too big a circus. I'm going to address it on Tuesday. I'll address it then when I'm on the podium. So I think he says, I'm going to say this, I'm not going to talk about it again. Cooney Lexus of Greenwood Village is Colorado's #1 volume Lexus dealer. Go over there and see the waterfall. I laugh about that. Have the Lottie. The reason why I bring up the
have
pool
the
table
Lottie?
and the latte.
Okay, thank you.
is because I love he won't talk about it, but he's gone over there for the service. Great service, but while you're having your car serviced, you can go in and actually enjoy yourself and watch television or watch a movie or shoot some pool or just hang out. It's a great place to go. Cooney Lexus of GreenwoodVillage.com.
Hello, my name is Greg Stone, President and General Manager, and I would like to personally thank you for making Cooney Lexus of Greenwood Village the #1 Lexus dealer in Colorado.
Cooney Lexus of Greenwood Village for exceptional customer service and world-class amenities. Take in the beauty of the Rocky Mountains from our rooftop patio. Relax while enjoying a movie in our premium theater. This is the ultimate luxury car buying experience. Visit Cooney Lexus of Greenwood Village or Cooney Lexus of Colorado Springs. Click CooneyLexus.com.
Pick six. Media Day for the Super Bowl is right around the corner, and it's a circus.
And it's
which,
going to be a bigger circus. It's at night in primetime now. So
you know
goodness. Every reporter is going to try and get on the nighttime. I don't know what nighttime is. It on NFL Network or CBS? I don't know.
6 questions that we'll hear most often on Media Day, Media Night.
I've taken a peek at yours, and I will not steal any of them, but you're absolutely right. But you don't have this on your list, so I'm going to say this, and it's not on mine. When does breakfast start?
When does breakfast start?
Because they have a breakfast buffet.
Yes.
But it's at night. So guys
it's going to be, where's the barbecue?
Yeah. Number 6, this is questions for both people, going to be heard all week long and that night. Damaris, is your mom coming in the game? Because that's now going to be a news story. That's going to be, we went through it here, and I wrote about it, and we wrote about it, but now it's going to be on the national stage because you know she's coming in the game. Number 5, why do you wear number 1, Cam? Because everybody thinks he wore number 1 because I want to be number 1 on this team, and he's really addressed that over the years that it never been taken. He thought it was an interesting number, and he did it at one for all for one kind of thing. So he'll have to deal with that. Number 4, every player is going to be asked, going back to Joe Namath, because of Joe Namath, are you going to guarantee a victory? Will you guarantee? They're going to push somebody like a T.J. Ward or Chris Harris Jr. to acknowledge that, yes, I'm going to guarantee we're going to win the game. They're going to do that with the Carolina Panthers and the Broncos. Number 3, both these teams have said, you know, people don't respect us. They don't respect us all year. The question you're going to get, because the guys, again, are setting up people, do you feel disrespected? And every player on every team, except Manning or a couple other guys, are going to say, yeah, we've been disrespected. We don't get any respect. Yeah, you do. Number 2, did you or your wife take HGH? It's going to be asked at Media Day.
Yes,
It'll probably be asked every day, and he's going to say, after Media Day, he's going to say, I already told you, I addressed that at Media Day, I'm not going to address it again. Number 1, the number 1 question that's going to be asked at Media Day, is this your last game?
I prefer to call it the last rodeo.
Oh, thank you. I'm sorry. You should. Mark Kiszla with his. Yeah. And you will be the guy to do it. Pardon me, Peyton, is this your last rodeo?
Yes.
And Peyton's going to say, you're the guy that started all this, Mark.
Yes, he will. Number 6, echoing one you brought up, and I always love this one. Is your team getting proper respect? You're in the Super Bowl, of course you're respected.
You're here being talked to by 8,000 people.
That's right. Number 5, one of my favorite from the past. If you were a tree, what would it be? And it's like, there are silly questions asked, and that's one of them every year.
Do you know what the mascot is of Stanford Cardinal?
A tree.
Do you think he's ever asked if you were a human, what kind of human
would you be? Number 4, and people want to know the background of players, you know, and how they came up and had a tough childhood. And I've heard this question asked, meaning, give some credit to your mom. But the question comes out, would you be here without your mom? Well, of course not. There are no divine births. Of course, mom got you here.
2 questions, all-time favorites are not mine, but how long have you been a black quarterback?
Yeah.
How long have you been a black quarterback? And number 2, let me see if I got this straight, Jim. Your mom is deaf and your father's blind, or is your father's blind and your mother's deaf?
Oh.
That was Jim Plunkett, whose parents were deaf.
Oh, man. Number 3. Why did the Gators like Tim Tebow, ring the bell, Tim Tebow better than you, Cam? Cam went to Florida for a year and then he left. Number 2 is one that I hear 1,000 times. What time does the media bus leave?
Which is right after, what time do we eat?
What time do we eat? And number 1, I haven't been to as many Super Bowls as you have. But this one's a pet peeve. Every single Super Bowl, there's an attractive young lady who says she's in the media, and she's dressed up like she's going to a wedding, or she's dressed up.
And what network is she usually from?
Usually it's a network that I can't really pronounce the name of.
MTV or VH1
Oh, yeah.
or something, or Telemundo.
And she yells out to a quarterback, "Hey, Cam, would you marry me?" And Cam goes, "No." And it's not very cute.
So they have in the past few years, they have now televised on the NFL Network a media day in the afternoon. This one will be at night, and I assume it's on the NFL Network, and that I don't think any of the other networks, because Monday night is also the Bachelor night, so it will compete against that. Do you think it will be a bigger circus than it's always been because it's in prime time, or will it be more subdued because of that?
I think it will actually be a little more subdued because I think the telecast will make everybody a little bit more on guard.
I would disagree with you because now they're letting fans into the place.
Well, they did in New Jersey a couple years ago.
They're letting fans in there. They're letting more and more media that would be considered social media or digital media or non-mainstream, or as Rush might refer to them, that aren't drive-by media. So I think it's going to be even a bigger farce than it's always been. It's like the circus has come to town. Speaking of the circus, we're leaving town, and you can watch us on woodypage.com, lead you to there, denverpost.com on demand at your convenience whenever you want to. If you want to go back and see, you'll see clips all over the stories on denverpost.com. Go to Facebook, go to our iTunes podcast, go to our YouTube channel. You can see us everywhere, and we'll continue to lead you up, and it's going to be interesting to see how that, as we get to the Super Bowl, how that poll goes of picking the Broncos and the Panthers, and as our conversation continues. We have full afternoon ahead of us on DPTV. Coming up next is a news break with Molly Hughes.
All right, good show.
Hello, I'm Molly Hughes in the Denver Post newsroom. New numbers are out, and they show a growing number of vacancies in apartment rentals for the Denver metro area, a sign the market may finally be leveling out. The new report by the Apartment Association of Metro Denver shows good old-fashioned supply and demand at work here. Developers have added nearly 1,700 new apartment units at a time when people are moving out of their apartments. The result? More than 4,200 apartments sitting empty at the end of 2015. Experts say a dip in the fourth quarter number is normal, but this time around the drop went far beyond the seasonal adjustments. We put together a map that shows a breakdown of rental and vacancy rates in different parts of the Denver metro area. The vacancy rates were highest in Northwest Denver, Boulder County, downtown Denver, and North Douglas County. Those are places with generally higher cost rental rates, and there are dramatically fewer vacancies in lower priced areas like Wheat Ridge, Englewood, Sheridan, and Northeast and Southwest Denver. Real estate experts say we may see more downward pressure on rental prices in the coming months, but they do not believe we are headed for a major crash in the rental market.